Spider-Man Far From Home was one of my most anticipated Marvel films in recent memory, due to the simple fact that it was going to feature my favorite supervillain of all time, Mysterio. Set within the greater MCU, Mysterio, or Quentin Beck, is a former engineer and holographic illusion specialist who worked for Stark Industries. He had invented the binarily augmented retro-framing prototype that Stark would use at the beginning of Civil War during a presentation at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Beck would go uncredited for his invention though, which caused him to become unstable and egocentric, obsessed with getting attention, giving reason for Stark to fire him. Years later, he would form a team with several other uncredited ex-Stark employees to create Mysterio, the world's greatest superhero. In Beck's eyes, if you don't have a cape or any superpowers, no one gives a damn about you. No one will listen. In the comics, Quentin Beck was a failed stuntman and special effects master from the film industry, who would use his talents in stage illusions, robotics, chemistry, and hypnotism to become a criminal. He would target Spider-Man, wanting to be viewed as superior to him in every way. By framing Spider-Man in a museum heist, Mysterio turns the city against Spidey and is deemed a hero of sorts as a result. Though the Mysterio in Far From Home wasn't depicted as a failure from the film industry like he was in the comics, his central themes are still present, and with any character in fiction, that's all that matters when you adapt them into a new medium. Technically speaking, all other elements from their histories are just variables. If they don't add to that initial theme, they don't have to be 100% accurate to the source material. Changes can be made as long as the theme remains constant. I think a lot of people tend to forget that sometimes, or simply don't realize it. Anyways, much like in the comics, Quentin Beck wants attention. He wants to be viewed as superior, and becoming the world's greatest superhero goes along with it. What I enjoyed so much about the film version is that Mysterio is more of a concept, an idea of several people working together for one goal. Beck, of course, helms the identity because he not only created the illusion technology, but is naturally the most charismatic of them all. He has the true showmanship required to accomplish all this. Mysterio is an act, an artificial creation used to manipulate the entire world. Using Beck's illusion technology, housed within hundreds of Stark Industry drones, he and his team are able to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, making them believe countless cities across the globe are being attacked by what he refers to as elementals, loosely based upon the characters of the same name from the comics, with nods to Molten Man, Hydro Man, and Sandman thrown in as well. On top of that, Beck temporarily works with Nick Fury and Spider-Man to bring his creations down, claiming to be a tragic hero from an alternate reality, Earth 833, who lost his family fighting the elementals. In their initial meeting, he says they are currently on Earth 616, but right from the get-go he's a bullshitter, because any hardcore MCU fan would know that the shared universe takes place on Earth 199999. To the average moviegoer, it would have meant nothing, but to the mega fans who already knew Mysterio was a bad guy, come on, it's obvious, it meant we were in for a reveal. It was a subtle way for the filmmakers to let us all know beforehand. Quentin Beck targets Peter because he wants possession of Edith, an artificial intelligence given to Parker as a gift from the late Tony Stark that allows its user full control over the entirety of Stark Industries' satellite network, which is what results in him being able to possess even more drones, hundreds if not potentially thousands. The scene in which Mysterio is revealed as the villain and given the Edith glasses by Peter, who feels Beck should be Stark's replacement and not him, takes place within a bar, artificially created by Beck. Though it helps explain everything going on, I find this to be the weakest scene in the movie, unfortunately, and it shouldn't have been. It was nothing more than an exposition dump taken to its most extreme form. That, and Peter's decision to give back the glasses, was too irrational for me to believe, regardless of what was going on in Peter's mind. That Tony would have wanted him to give them away? Peter is smarter than that. Mysterio, at his very core, is egocentric and lives for the attention. There is a strong disconnect between what he wants and what he is doing, especially when he is attempting to be viewed as a hero, for example. In the film, you see his obsession with appearance, having someone iron his cape for public appearances after everything is said and done. He has a guy feeding him lines, whichever sound the most dramatic in each situation, and even in Venice while battling the water elemental, all he cares about is fighting the creature, while Spider-Man is doing the real work, saving people. This disconnect of what heroism really is the biggest flaw of Mysterio, and it's a trait they nailed in this film. In the original comics, Mysterio's costume had superpowers built into it, so he could stand a chance against the wall crawler. Some of these included smoke screens, nerve gases, spider sense nullifiers and sprays to dissolve his webbing, spring shoes, magnetized boots, an electrified cape, holographic projectors, and hallucinogens, among many others. In the film, he doesn't have as many abilities, but that's okay, because they lean into the illusion side of things with his hologram technology. He uses drones, which is a great way of modernizing this character for a more current age. Not only that, but I love the idea of him wearing a mocap suit, and that while fighting, the costume he wears is just another illusion painted over top. It was brilliant. Mysterio was created to be the greatest superhero, and his design takes elements from other popular MCU heroes to make a sort of amalgamation of them that will sit well with the mainstream public. He has elements of Thor, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man in his appearance, which was another great direction for the character. I'm going to just go out and say it. Mysterio is one of my favorite MCU villains. I think he's one of the best the franchise has produced. Why? Because he attacks the hero in ways we have not yet seen before in this series. During the phenomenal illusion fight sequence near the end of the film, that was worth the price of admission, let me tell you. Mysterio targets Peter psychologically. He attacks his biggest fears and insecurities, makes him face his responsibilities. Spider-Man is forced to combat his own reflection, which at that point in the film was something he was not wanting to look at after what he did. He has to confront the rotting corpse of Iron Man Tony Stark like something right out of Marvel Zombies, and he feels not only Stark Tower, but the entirety of New York closing in around him. All his responsibilities, everything weighing in on his mind, it all came into play. It was incredible. Quentin Beck did die at the end of the film, though it's kind of open to speculation because it could just be another one of his illusions. Even still, Mysterio is an idea, and someone else could assume that role again in the future, especially if Sony ever wants to get that Sinister Six movie off the ground, the one they've been obsessed with making for years. In the end, much like when Mysterio framed Spider-Man for that museum robbery, he won because the city is now against Peter, believing him to have killed Mysterio thanks to some doctored footage. I'm excited to see where the story goes next and can't wait for Spider-Man's next MCU adventure. This has been NerdGasm. Let me know what you thought of Spider-Man Far From Home, as well as the MCU's take on Mysterio, in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed the video and found it insightful, make sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of all future videos I release on the channel. Also, share it if you'd be so kind to help me out, and I will see all of you in the next one. Take care.